Hey everybody, welcome to MCM TV2, the second and most excellent channel of Mighty Car Mods. We're here with Josh Buchan. How you doing?
Good, man.
TCR driver in the Super Cheap Auto Series. You drive for Hyundai, correct?
Yes, correct.
And he wins events, and he started go-karting, and then he started driving cars really fast, and then winning heaps, and then people gave him money to drive cars fast, and now that's his job.
Nailed it.
That's his, there he is, that's his resume. Today, we're not in race cars, well actually we are. It's my Suzuki Swift Sport. One of the most common things that people want to know is how do you set up your seat for like daily driving, what keeps it safe, what makes it comfortable, what's ergonomic, and then importantly, what changes do you make if you're doing a track day? So you're sitting there in your Yaris, you're going down to the shops buying some food, and then you're like, track day this weekend, what things would you change, if any? Today we're going to find out. All right, so Josh, we're not in a race car, we're in a normal car. What do we do? How do we set it up? I imagine this video will get shared around by a lot of people, maybe people sending it to kids that are getting their L's or their P's, because most people, like, this is not the way to like drive, right? Like this. So what do we do? How do we set up?
Yeah, as opposed to misbelief on the road and what you may see in this car on the road, the normal seat position should not be 12, gear selector, you know, arms right back, ordering your Maccas through the back window. That's not how it works. So
you're only one P plate off looking perfect then, by the way. That was just like...
I can't actually go further back, so you're right. I'm missing my green Ps. So, yeah, I could cover seat position over an hour. This is such an important topic for not only track driving, but like you say, your everyday driving. This is so important. You've got airbags here, airbags there in a lot of cars, airbags in the seats in some cars. And although it sounds safe, believe it or not, if you have a collision and you're sitting in the wrong spot, the airbags not only are doing nothing for you, but some of the safety systems...
They can smash you, right?
Well, they can smash you, but some of the other safety systems, like a seatbelt pre-tensioning, can actually hurt you.
Okay.
You're designed to hit an airbag on the deflation stage of a collision, right? So the airbag explodes. You're designed to hit that as the air's falling out.
Not a head-on.
Not a head-on, correct. So if we sit like this, I kind of look like I know what I'm doing. I've got my hands at 9 and 3, got a little bend in my arms and legs. I can reach all the controls. It looks like I know what I'm doing. But when you have the inevitable in a scenario on the road where someone pops out in front of you and you have the oh shit moment, you grab the wheel, you tense up, all of a sudden I've got my arms fully locked out. I've got my legs close enough to fully locked out. If I hit anything, all that shock is going straight to the weakest parts of my joints. So instead of having a bent arm and the arm actually being the absorption of the collision, followed by hitting the airbag, it just goes to your joints.
Which means potentially as well, and we've talked about this before, anything that's locked is like skewering meat, right? So like if I lock that hard enough, or lock my leg, if you're set up in a way where there's no bend in the leg and the leg is locked out, then when you hit, your leg is going out your back. Like it's going
100%.
through, like busting out the top of your hip, right?
Yep. So there was a crash in V8 Supercar a couple of years ago in Darwin where the driver, professional race driver, got his legs locked out and he hit a wall side on and it broke his pelvis.
Yeah, right.
So when you consider that it can happen to anyone in any scenario, it's so important that you give yourself the best chance every day on the road to minimize injury. And that's where it all starts, in your seat position.
Wow. All right, well,
crack on.
Let's find out how we do it right then.
Cool. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start from the bottom of the seat. You want to try and slam the seat as low as you can. Why do you want to do this? It naturally projects your vision further up the road. You actually bring the dash into your view as an obstacle. You're trying to look over it.
Okay.
The further up you sit, the more inclined you are to look down your bonnet. Yeah. And that's all well and good at 5Ks an hour, but I would much prefer to set up to crash at 100 than 5Ks an hour. It's much more beneficial, right? So you want to sit as low as you can, look right up the road. What that does is just allows you to see things a bit sooner. Half a second at 100 Ks an hour is about 20 meters. Super important. You might see something a bit sooner. So slam the seat to the ground. For us shorter folk at home, start going up incrementally, but as low as you can. Shouldn't be able to see your bonnet. The next thing is you want to bring your seat forward so that you let your legs can brace yourself into the back of the seat. So without touching the wheel, brace yourself into the back of the seat with your leg. That way, it allows your arms to maintain a bend and be smooth, and that way you won't overgrip the wheel and kind of spear into anything because you can't physically turn the wheel.
So you're using your arms in a sense, arms only to turn, as opposed to, when people are kind of moving around in their seat because they can't actually lock themselves in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
It sounds super basic and
except we don't apply it.
No.
It's like it sounds basic, but sometimes you just got to hear it. You got to hear someone say it so you can do it.
That's right. And we're not taught in this country. Like, you've got to do a defensive day to learn this stuff, which is a big issue in itself. Another video. So brace yourself in the seat with your left leg on the footrest. If you've got a manual, use the clutch, like in this scenario, and it's the same thought process, right? So now that's done, we move up again to the steering wheel. Your hands should be at 9 and 3. If they're at 10 and 2, move them. Just trust me. Another video again why they should be at 9 and 3. But in this car's scenario, steering wheel can go up. You want to try and get your hands level with your shoulders. That's kind of like That's kind of like the nirvana of seat and hand positioning, right?
Right. Okay. So hands 9, 3. Trying to get the hands same height as the shoulders.
Yep.
Great.
Yep. Ideally. Your backrest should be to the point, it probably feels a bit uncomfortable, but they should be at the point where your arms, again, you could, if you wanted to, push yourself in the seat and maintain a bend.
Okay.
Same theory as the legs.
Right.
Once you've done that, you're pretty much there. That's as simple as it gets, and you should be safe enough.
Can we have a quick chat quickly about a car like this, which is getting turned into a street legal, but still a car that can be used on the track? Obviously, we see people remove airbags, remove steering wheels, take out side impact, stuff like that. Steering wheels is probably a really common one because a lot of people, with cars, WRXs or whatever, take the steering wheel off, replace it with something without. If you're in a harness, your car's got a cage, why are people not running airbags? I mean, obviously they can never get there because of the harness anyway.
Yeah.
But are there any other considerations?
So you should, first and foremost, if you have a harness in any car, you need a hands device to go with it. Otherwise, the harness is rendered useless.
What's a hands device?
A hands device is a head and neck restraint system where it clips onto your helmet, goes underneath the seatbelts, and when you have a moment where your head goes forward, the hands device stops your head from basically hitting your chin and breaking your neck.
Yep, okay.
So, very expensive item. They can be up from $500 to $2.5 grand.
Okay.
But that then will negate the need for an airbag. Because
Okay.
that's basically the airbag's job, right? Is to stop your head hitting the wheel and snapping forward. The hands device basically does that without the use of an airbag.
So if you are, just because you've seen it on the internet, you've got a stock car, you put some coilovers in, you cut your resonator out, you stick a blow-off valve on there, you put your P-plate on the back, then you take your steering wheel out, buy one off eBay for $50 that probably bends and do that.
Yeah.
You're not doing, other than the coolness of it, you're actually doing yourself a disservice then? Is that, I mean, I'm the Mighty Car Mods guy, it's meant to be all about the mods, but in this case, that's a bad idea then.
Yeah, I mean, look, you never budget to bend a steering wheel when you're out on track, right? So I guess, you get whatever steering wheel you want, but effectively, yeah, look, unless you've got a proper harness that's going to hold you into the seat, maybe just run with the airbag for now.
Okay, do I need to replace the steering wheel at all?
I mean, other than the fact you might start slipping on the wheel, and if you wear gloves, like it's going to be worse again. Steering wheel's pretty cool. Like, it's a nice shape, nice weight.
Maybe once I get to that point, can I call you again? And so you can check,
Yeah.
like once, and like just go, hey, what do I need now?
Yeah, it's another day off work for me. I'm happy to come out and talk about steering wheels.
Awesome. So here, I'm going to try and summarize it. I think I got this right. So first of all, getting as low as you can. You want to make sure that you can't actually see the bonnet, so you want to be nice and low. You're bringing the seat forward more than you think it is, so you're in a nice upright position. If you brace yourself with your feet and your car's an auto, put it on the footrest and the brake, push them in, make sure you can lock yourself in like this. If you've got a manual car, using both your feet, one on the brake, one on the clutch, because that's what you're going to do in an emergency brake situation. Then you want to actually make sure, if you do have some steering wheel control, you're sitting at 9 and 3 and you're trying to get your hands at a point that they're at the same kind of level as your shoulders. And then if you're locking yourself in and you're nice and tight in the seat, you should be able to turn without your body having to flex and core activate at the same time. If you're using a race car, hand device with your helmet and a harness means you can potentially get rid of your steering wheel. If you're using gloves, which sometimes is a requirement for racing, it can be slippery on a steering wheel like this. Other than that, your stock steering wheel is probably going to be okay. And most importantly, what I would suggest, do a defensive driving day, get someone to come and have a look and check out your seat and your seating position and how you're driving. Learning how to kind of operate under those conditions training for it, training for mistakes, seeing what your car does in a controlled environment is probably one of the best investments you can make in yourself. So there it is. Is that, have I covered it?
I think you nailed it in one. We're ready to swap shirts. You could run this show yourself.
A massive thank you to Josh Buchan, who's the Hyundai TCR driver in the Super Cheap Auto Series. Thank you very much. What kind of car you got at home? That's the thing that we want to know.
Oh my God. So I've got an i30N. Who would have thought?
Oh my God. Thank you so much to the sponsors. But what do you really like driving?
Well, I just got
Hyundais are awesome and he loves them, but when he's not driving them, he's probably got some other interests, which include...
Toyota Altezza.
Okay, great.
Do have an Altezza, always been a Skyline guy, but yeah, it's i30 through and through. Everything else sucks.
Well done. Great. You're going to keep getting paid for another day. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks, mate.
And see you on the track.
Yes, indeed.